What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I want to take a look at two brutal punches, bangers, sluggers. They fought twice. Smoking Joe Frazier and Jerry Quarry. Now, Joe Frazier will come in a squatting position, banging with both hands, body and head, but his potent weapon with a smoking left hook. He would follow you all over the ring. And he usually got you out of there. Joe Frazier. His name was Joseph William Frazier. Born January 12, 1944, Beaufort, South Carolina. He died November 7, 2011 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Stood 5 foot 11 inches and weighed over 200 pounds. He was managed by Cloverlink Incorporated and trained by Eddie Futch, Yancey Durham. Entered in the Boxing Hall of Fame in 1980, International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1990. When he lost to two opponents, 2 fights to George Foreman, 2 fights to Muhammad Ali. March 8th, 1971, he would defeat Muhammad Ali, giving him his first loss. September 21st, 1966, be in the ring with Oscar Ringo Bonavena, New York's Madison Square Garden, 12th professional fight. He would defeat Bonavena in 10 rounds, but he was dropped twice. One more knockdown or slip, and he may have never gotten the credit that he deserves. November 21st, he would be in the ring with Eddie Machin, Los Angeles, California, 10 rounds. And he would take out Eddie Machin that same year, 1966. 1967, he would fight Doug Jones, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, knocking him out in 6 rounds. And he drew the distinction of being a man to knock out a man that Muhammad Ali couldn't knock out. George Scrap Iron Johnson, May 4th, Los Angeles, 10 rounds. Joe Frazier would defeat George Scrap Iron Johnson. Very tough opponent. Frazier would be in the ring with George Chuvalo. He was a Canadian heavyweight champion. Fought him in New York's Madison Square Garden, knocking him out in 4 rounds. They would stop the fight because George Chuvalo would suffer a bad cut. But in the process, he would be taking a beating by smoking Joe Frazier. 1968, Buster Mathis, New York's Madison Square Garden, 11-round technical knockout. And Joe Frazier would become the NBA heavyweight champion of the world. And he was actually the WBC, a new organization that would come about in 1963. And Jimmy Ellis would win the WBA heavyweight championship belt. It was vacated when Muhammad Ali was stripped, and Ellis would defeat Jerry Quarry for that title. 1970, February 16, Jimmy Ellis, New York's Madison Square Garden. What a fight that was. Joe Frazier would hit him a left hook and knock him out in the 5th round. Now, although Jimmy Ellis would get up and walk to his corner, but he couldn't continue. Angelo Dundee wouldn't let him out of the corner. Joe Frazier would become the unified heavyweight champion of the world. June 17, 1974, Jerry Quarry, rematch, Madison Square Garden. Knock him out in 5 brutal rounds. Suffer a cut, no fault of Joe Frazier's. But that was some fight. October 1975, Quezon City, the Philippines. He'd be stopped by Muhammad Ali, one of the most brutal heavyweight championship fights in all of boxing. Neither man could breathe. They could hardly walk or stand. Joe Frazier would suffer a hematoma over his left eye. Most people don't know that Joe Frazier was blind in one eye for many years. June 15, 1976, smoking Joe Frazier would be stopped by George Foreman for the NABF heavyweight championship belt. It was in Uniondale, New York. George Foreman became the NABF heavyweight champion when he stopped Joe Frazier. As for Jerry Quarry, born May 15, 1945, Los Angeles, California. He died January 3, 1999, Los Angeles, California. I had the pleasure of meeting both Smoking Joe Frazier and Jerry Quarry. Jerry Quarry would have an amateur career 170 fights, 13 losses, 54 by the knockout rule. Professional, 53-9 and 33 knockouts. He would win a Western Regional Golden Gloves and a National Golden Gloves, become a champion. 1965, 14 fights, 4 wins, 8 knockouts, 1 draw. 1966, 10 fights, 4 wins, 3 knockouts, 2 draws, and 1 loss. The loss would be to Eddie Machen, July 15th of 1966. And I got to tell you, Eddie Machen was a threat to a lot of those fighters during those days. But he couldn't handle the punishment of Jerry Quarry and Smoking Joe Frazier. He was an opponent that you could look at to determine who was a better fighter between Joe Frazier and Smoking Joe Frazier. Jerry Quarry and Smoking Joe Frazier. 1967, Too Tall, Al Jones. 5th round knockout. Brian London. Jerry Quarry would defeat him in 10 rounds. Alex Mitliff in 3 rounds. Floyd Patterson fought him twice. 10-round draw. June 9th, Los Angeles. Fought him again. This time it would be a 12-round decision. October 28th, Los Angeles, California. Be for the WBA Elimination Tournament. 1968, Tad Spencer, Oakland, California. 12-round knockout. February 3rd. Then we face Jimmy Ellis, Oakland, California. He would lose to him 15 rounds. And he would lose for the vacant WBA Heavyweight Championship belt. 1969, Buster Mathis. March 24th, Madison Square Garden. He would defeat him in 12 rounds. And he would run into Smoking Joe Frazier, Madison Square Garden, June 23rd, New York. For the state heavyweight championship, he would be knocked out in 7 rounds. But then in 1970, October 26th, Muhammad Ali will be preparing for his comeback to face Joe Frazier, New York's Madison Square Garden, March 8th, 1971. Jerry Quarry would be stopped in 3 rounds. You see, Jerry Quarry was some fighter. Very underrated. But I got to tell you, Joe Frazier put a heck of a fight that night. 2 fights between Joe Frazier and Jerry Quarry. Thanks for hanging in there with me. This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. All great fights and all great fighters will never be forgotten on my channel. Salute to my subscribers. Salute to Smoking Joe Frazier and Jerry Quarry. How they displayed their talents. This is an original program of that closed circuit fight between Jerry Quarry, Smoking Joe Frazier.